I really wish I had something snarky to say, but I do not. So basically, what we have here is an elitist who basically thinks that his way is the right way. And if you like something different, then fuck you. Okay, let's get this started. 3, 2, 1.
JTOmega channel for day 1561 of our daily content grind. So I have an update from something from a couple months ago. Do you remember when I asked everyone to go hit like on a tweet from Iron Mouse because I was trying to get my VTuber persona onto one of her fashion show streams?
He basically was trying to get her attention. I wouldn't say simping, but it's still pretty fucking sad.
I appreciate everyone doing that for me. Unfortunately, she never got around to it, but she is going to do it again. So, can you do a quick...
So can you go in on my behalf and can you tell her how awesome I am, guys? Because that would mean a lot to me.
quick Christmas present to me? Take 5 seconds to click the link in the description.
No. Whenever somebody says, hey, can you click a link for me? Fuck no. You want something done, you do it yourself. It's not our job to get you over. It's your job to get yourself over.
Go leave a like on this post that I have linked to, featuring my VTuber model, because frankly, I didn't get nearly as good of a jump on this one as I did the last one. So the only chance I have of making it on stream is going to be if you guys help me out a little bit here. I hate asking people to go back to Twitter, but
yeah. So here's the thing. I consider this guy to be a huge fucking hypocrite. Major fucking hypocrite. And this is one of the reasons why. This guy is such a fucking pussy that he got his feelings hurt when Twitter was bought, that he had to take his ass and go over to Blue Sky. That's his right. But then he shits on Twitter, but then he also likes people use Twitter if it helps him benefit from it. The guy's a hypocrite. He is a fucking hypocrite, and that's why I'm always targeting this piece of shit also. This guy is a more successful version of DSP Gaming.
Really take 5 to 10 seconds of your time, and it's just a small little Christmas present you can get me.
No, fuck you. In fact, you should be pointed at and laughed because of the fact that you are betraying your standards, your morals. Mr. I'm not going to use Twitter anymore because I don't like who owns Twitter and all this bullshit. Yet, when you need a benefit from it, you'll probably go there, or you ask people to go there. You're a fucking hypocrite.
If you could, please, I would appreciate it very, very much. It could be a huge deal for a project that is very important to me. Okay. Cheap shilling out of the way.
Well, at least this piece of shit admits he's a shill, so he has one step up on DSP Gaming.
Let's actually talk about the robots. And this is a topic that I've been thinking about for a while because of another thing that I was reading the other night. We'll get into that here in a bit. But we have brand new photos of an upcoming reuse of Studio Series Hot Rod. And this seems to be the one it should have been before. It's a completely screen accurate version of the toy. It's done in the pink that he had.
It looks more magenta to me, but then again, I could be colorblind. But yeah, to me it looks magenta, and there is no way in hell I'd buy this figure again. I already bought it once. I am not going to buy it again because it has a fishing rod, a Nerf sword, and shield. No, thank you.
And in the movie, which is a color they very rarely put on a hot rod toy. Hasbro fears putting a boy's toy in pink. We remember this. But on top of that, they are throwing in extra accessories because he's getting his training sword and shield from when he's fighting the droid on the Autobot ship, just out of boredom more than anything. So yeah, and he's getting his fishing pole too. So like, it's a very loaded package. Like, it's a lot, if they were going to release them as a Voyager, this is how much I would have expected them to put into it, because he really is deluxe size. He's just more complicated to transform. But that's not all. If we take it to vehicle mode, you can see that the vehicle mode is also really nicely clean and show accurate, movie accurate, more importantly. But do you notice something about it?
Ooh. Is this where he's going to complain about the piece of plastic that acts as a hinge where the canopy is next to the blue plastic where the window is? Is he going to be talking about that? Oh, please let me hear him talk about it. Is he going to be talking about it? Let's find out.
Because there's something about it that's going off better than they did on the previous version. And here, I'll give you the previous one to show you. The patch of yellow's gone.
Oh my god! They removed the yellow! Oh my god! I'll make you a bet that this fucktard literally jizzed in his pants when he saw that image. Oh my god, they finally removed the yellow! Oh my fucking god!
That patch of yellow on the top that comes from another section of plastic on the mold. See, we all had an issue with that.
Don't speak for me. I fucking hate it when somebody goes, we all decided this, or we all don't like this, or we all agree with it. No, motherfucker, you do not speak for me. It drives me up the fucking wall when people act on my behalf. Don't fucking do that. It drives me up the wall, and it's just fucking rude.
A weird blemish on what is otherwise a really clean take on Hot Rod's vehicle mode, but we kind of gave it a pass because it came from a part of the sprue that can't be painted, the infamous palm plastic, the unpaintable plastic that some of his joints and his spoiler was made out of. Now, it is technically paintable, but not at the factory level. The processes to it are too involved to do on like a mass production scale. However, we kind of assumed that because it had to be part of that mold, that we just kind of assumed that we were stuck with that yellow. But we have this new one that doesn't have that issue, meaning it could have been right the first time. And if it could have been right the first time, that now leaves me to question, why was it done incorrectly before? Why was such a bad blemish to an otherwise near flawless figure left in when we now know it was completely possible to do without and to do it correctly the first time? So that's kind of what the video is about today. It is the first time should have been the best time, and why are we only getting like the things that should have been later on? Now, there's various reasons, and I'm going to be completely fair about all of it, okay?
Okay, this guy's never fair. He always has a slant. He always has to push his little agenda. But let's hear him say it, though.
Okay, for instance, I'm not going to bring up all of the times they did opaque plastic replacing the translucent plastic. I acknowledge that's a personal pet peeve, my hatred of the clear plastic stuff. I think of all of those as something they should have done the first time around, but that's preferential. A lot of people prefer the translucent. Have fun with your time bombs.
And this is why I fucking hate this piece of shit. He acts like he is the know-it-all. He acts like what he likes is the best thing. And if you like, I like clear plastic. It doesn't fucking bother me. You want to know why it doesn't bother me? And I'll tell you why it doesn't bother me. Here's why it doesn't bother me. If you are careful with your figures and you do not apparently manhandle them and over torque the plastic, basically, it does not give you any real issues. This guy here makes it sound like that clear plastic is the bane of humanity. And as you literally just heard there, even though he tries to be the nice guy, he tries to be the voice of reason. If you don't like something if you like something he does not like, he finds little ways to jab you. This is something I've come to expect from people who go to Blue Sky.
I acknowledge that it's a me thing, though. So we're not going to bring...
Oh, I acknowledge it's a me thing, but I'm going to still insult you for it. I'm still going to insult your likes for it. What?
Bring up that. But there's also situations that we should explain. So, Springer, for instance. And Springer produces a pretty nice Siege figure. You know, we liked this toy, right? Well, then Studio Series comes out and does the Springer we should have gotten the first time. He's more show accurate. His transformation is a little bit smooth.
Not everybody gives a flying fuck about it being show accurate or movie accurate. They just don't care. I'm one of them. All I care is if I got a good figure. I, do you think I'm going to spaz out like this little guy here over like the color of the plastic? No, because at heart I still know who this figure is. So what if the green is slightly lighter? It's not going to ruin the overall experience because you have the toy itself. This guy literally acts like if it isn't 100% what you saw on TV or in the movie, it's literally not good enough. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Grow the fuck up. Grow up.
Smoother, and he's got the details a little bit more correct. He's got the slanted shoulders, for instance. Now, this can be a little bit more, I can try to be a little bit more fair here. The first time they did it, it was at the Voyager price point. I mean, granted, in Siege, Voyager had a lot more room to work with. Keep in mind, we weren't that far off from Titan's Return, and this is the same toy line that gave us like the leftovers from Titan's Return, which would be Ape Face and Snapdragon. So triple changing was absolutely possible. Triple changing with gimmickry was possible at this time. So really, I don't buy it that just having a leader class price point allowed them to make those adjustments to make him more show accurate. I just think it made it easier. You absolutely could have done it right the first time. For some reason, they didn't. So, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more critical of that, you know? And
this guy's critical of everything. He's literally critical of everything.
That's kind of where I mean. There is an excuse, but I don't completely believe the excuse, you know? And that's kind of where a lot of this falls. So, like, you take a look at, like, the Nemesis Prime situation from Velocitron. Scourge was supposed to be decorated like Scourge, but because the designer admitted that he got it, that he was, not familiar with the character, he just gave it the normal Nemesis colors instead of like looking it up and seeing if it was correct. Because he probably had to know he was working on a character that wasn't named Nemesis Prime. This one doesn't have an updated version yet, but we do know that Hasbro is aware of our dissatisfaction over the deco of this one.
Once again, it really doesn't bother me. Like, it's as long as it looks somewhat like the character. It would be one thing if they called this thing Scourge and they painted them all in red or something. I'd be like, okay, that's weird, but to call him Scourge and then just have him look all red or all blue or something. But when the coloring, I'm not saying the coloring's perfect, but then again, I don't really care as long as it's within the ballpark. I think there are times you just can't make people happy, and they will find something to throw a goddamn fit about. And this guy is a perfect example of that. He could literally have the Scourge figure like you see up here. It could be literally perfect, and then for some weird reason, they would, instead of having the two teal stripes that you see where his knees are, they may have turned it like black. But everything else would have been perfect, and he would still throw a fucking fit.
So it would not surprise me at all if they don't try it again at some point down the line when they can fit another leader into rotation somewhere. This is one I expect a V2 out of, but it still falls under the why didn't you get it right the first time? And the excuse here is incredibly flimsy because all you had to do was Google search and find out what it was supposed to look like. But then again, that's not foolproof. Here's what our first look at Cup was for Studio Series.
I actually have this one. I think this was the first Studio Series 86 figure I got. It was this one, and then it was the Hot Rod, and then it went on from there. But I remember going to Fred Meyer's or Kroger, depending on where you live. And they actually had this figure. The only regret that I have buying this figure was how much it was. Because for some reason in my area, Fred Meyer / Kroger, they jack the prices up of their action figures, and it isn't something new. It isn't. Going all the way back to like the late 80s, early 90s when I was collecting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Whereas KB Toys would sell them like $3.99 or $4.99, Fred Meyers or Kroger would actually sell them for over $10 each. I could never understand why they feel the need to jack up their prices that much. But I was at Fred Meyer's, I saw it, and I'm like, you know what? Odds are Target or Walmart would not have it yet, because during that time, especially, uh, the stores, those stores were always kind of bare bones. So I'm just like, you know what? Fuck, I'll just pay the extra $10 and I bought it. But I love this figure. This is actually like I said, one of the first Studio Series 86 figures I got.
86. And while, yeah, the robot mode's okay-ish, that vehicle mode is rough because of the color palette being mixed up. Now, according to the designer for this deco, they got the wrong source when they looked it up. Weird to me that Hasbro doesn't apparently have an internal database they could search just to make sure all this stuff was consistent, like a series Bible or something. No, they Google and came up with a fan-created color layout that completely set them on the wrong path when it came to how to arrange the colors on Cup. So, Buzzworthy Bumblebee had to give us a correct version of the toy. Got rid of the clear plastic, which was never a thing on.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, what's the first thing he talks about right here? He goes straight to the clear plastic. It isn't the coloring. It's the clear plastic. This guy has it's like he has a hate boner for clear plastic. And I'll tell you why. Odds are he's probably one of those collectors that when he does transform the figure, that he gets probably stuck. Here's, for example, here is Skybite from Age of the Primes. He probably, goes to transform it, and it's probably giving him a little bit of resistance because, admittingly, the QC for Hasbro kind of sucks. He's trying to transform it, and instead of being patient and everything and trying to work with it, he gets upset because he looks like a little redhead step bitch, and he starts just thrashing the thing on the table. Why is it not working? Why is it not transforming? And of course, when you're beating it upside the goddamn table, things are going to break. And most likely, it's the clear plastic that cracked or something. And instead of actually admitting that he probably has an inferiority complex and that he gets angry all the time when his transformers do not comply with him when he's transforming them, he'll claim, "Oh, it's the clear plastic." Yeah, that's what it is. It's clear plastic. That it's the bane of my life. It's all the clear plastic fault. Don't look at the fact that he probably has fucking anger and rage issues.
The original toy or character design never belonged on there in the first place. Obviously, improve the deco, especially in the vehicle mode. Again, why wasn't it done correctly the first time? Why did we have to buy that toy again and try and then pawn off one on eBay that was way less valuable because it's shelf warmed forever and there's a better version of it out now?
When he says better, it's basically it's in the eye of the beholder. To me, I like the one I have. I would buy this one also if I had to. Like if I didn't have the one I already have and I came across this one, sure, I'd buy it. I am not somebody that literally has to have the picture perfect version of a transformer. I just don't. This guy sounds like a fucking elitist snob. Well, yours has clear plastic. Yours has an inferior paint scheme. Mine is perfect. You see here? No, it's all subjective, dude. It's based on personal likes and everything. No one there is. I've never seen Hasbro come out and go, "This is the best one," and this one is not. No, you're trying to divide the fandom amongst the people that like what you like, and if somebody likes something you don't like, fuck them. Enjoy your little clear plastic bomb or whatever the fuck he said.
It's a great thing to do to your collectors. When Buzzworthy did that to more than one toy, we can talk about Cliff Jumper. And no, I'm going to hold to it what I said at the top. This ain't about the clear plastic. This is about.
Okay, I'm curious. Does he bring up clear plastic during this little segment here about Cliff Jumper? Let's wait and see.
Cartoon accuracy. Namely, the arms. Cliff Jumper's arms aren't red. Now, there's a lot of these that you can argue toy accurate version, cartoon accurate version. For the most part, I can give you that, but really, we acknowledge.
For the most part, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice because everybody is entitled to like what they like. You like what you like, I like what I like. I draw the line where he starts literally where he starts judging you, and he basically puts you down because you like the inferior version of that toy.
That cartoon accuracy is probably going to win out, if you ask, because more kids and more adults would have seen the cartoon than had the toy, especially when you're talking about rarer or more expensive figures from back then. So I would argue cartoon accuracy should take priority. If that is.
Or you could just like what you buy and just like it, But no, you have to be a douchebag little snub like this guy.
Is a more frequently seen version of the character. So yeah, again, is done weirdly. You can't even make the toy versus cartoon argument with the Cliff Jumper because Cliff Jumper would have had completely black arms if they had done toy accurate. So let's do one that you can argue that. Here's Trypticon. Now, this one is fine. I mean, it's dark gray. It's dark gray, but really, when you see it in black, that just looks correct. Because again,
I know I'm gonna sound like a repeating record, but it's literally just personal preference. That's really what it is.
More recognizable in the cartoon. Kids in the 80s didn't exactly have enough money to throw around with their allowance to pick up a Trypticon, to grow up with this big gray dinosaur, instead of, to be more familiar with that rather than, the jet black one you saw in the cartoon smashing up cities and losing the Metroplex every time he showed up. This is the one that's been showing up at Ross for like $100, half off original cost. Guess whose Rosses don't have these? I would love to pay $100 to get a far prettier Trypticon that does not have the translucent plastic.
Literally, this guy, it's like it's he treats he in his God, I can't even figure out how I'm gonna say it. Translucent plastic lives in this guy's head like how the detractors lives inside DSP Gaming's head. Literally, that's all it is. He cannot give a real good reason, but up to this point regarding Trypticon, why he doesn't like this figure besides translucent plastic. He will mention the hips pretty quickly, but the hips should have been the primary problem. But no, he's going to talk about translucent plastic.
And does not have the weird hip issue. But of course, I'm in Florida, where distribution, even from a secondhand store, is pathetic.
Dude, it's pathetic everywhere. You're not special just because you live in Florida and the stores over there are shit. There's shit everywhere. You're lucky to go to a Target or a Walmart where I live and they have up-to-date stuff.
So I do not get to have that. Still, this is where like the cartoon.
And by the way, if he really wanted to get that figure, he could have ordered it. I'm sure he could still order it now. Let's see here. Okay, so after doing some quick research on Hasbro Pulse, they have the same Trypticon that you're finding over at the retail, basically like your Ross or whatever you want to call it. Yes, it is $199, but if he really wanted this figure because it was so much more perfect, I guess you could say, over the Titans Return version of Trypticon, he would buy it. No, what it is he wants something for the cheap. He wants something for the cheap. And if he can't get it for the cheap, he's going to throw a fit about it. Keep in mind, this is a guy who owns a business, and yet he cannot be bothered to spend a little bit extra for his hobby. I don't own a business, and yet I understand that with a hobby comes, you having to fork out some money every now and then. Here is the figure. It's actually not even sold out. It is in stock. It is in stock. He just chooses not to buy it because he's a cheapskate.
Accuracy thing comes in. Clearly, more people would have seen him in his black deco than the gray one, because most kids would not have been able to afford, or the parents of the kids would not have been able to afford the toy for them to be more familiar with. If you grew up with a Bumblebee toy and you were more familiar with how that looked, okay, perfectly fair. Perfectly fair. That's fine, because most kids could get their hands on a Bumblebee toy at any given point, almost regardless of what generation you're in. 90s kids, you struggle a little bit. Point is,
wait a minute. Almost everybody could get a Bumblebee if they wanted, but if you're a 90s kid, you may have struggled. Is it because that was when Transformers were kind of like in standby, basically? Is that what he's trying to say? Because I'm a little bit confused here with that statement.
I always see the cartoon as like the deco you should go for, because more people would be aware of it. It would look more correct.
That's the deco you go for. Just because you go for something doesn't mean everybody else has to. This is what that drives me nuts about these Transformers collectors that have been doing this for so fucking long. They basically think that their opinion is the only opinion. They fail to realize, hell, that everybody else has a right to determine what they like. If they like clear plastic, they like clear plastic. If they don't, they don't. If they want a gray colored Trypticon, they can have a gray colored Trypticon. If they want a black colored one, they can have the black colored one. It's ultimately up to them. And this guy, he just seems to think that his opinion is the only one that matters
to the character. Yeah, so that's where like that's where like the toy versions of things lose me. I know there's an audience for it, but not the main version of the toy. Not the main version. Like, you really, like, this is again a case of like, I think you did it better the second time. Why wasn't it done that way the first?
He's, at least the way I'm hearing it, it literally sounds like he tries to treat the people that like the toy version, the toy accurate, I guess you could say, toy accurate version of a character. It sounds like he really treats them like they're second rate. Like they're second rate. Oh, well, you can go over there and sit in the corner. Like it's fucking douchebaggy like.
First time. Market, like, if this was like a selects release, it's a limited market. Well, limit the toy one to a limited market instead. That seems to make more sense. They did it with Galvatron. There's also another sect of this, which is we had another idea and we're just releasing it later. So you get situations like Sandstorm, who's toy accurate here on his first release, but then later on you get the 2-pack release where they've given him the anime face.
I actually bought that 2-pack. I actually have it on the shelf right over there. I know you can't really see it here. Let's go over here. Let's see if this will work. Right there is Sandstorm, and then like in the darker area right there is the other one. The only reason I bought this 2-pack was I got I think it's the Legacy United version of Sandstorm, and he has that chest issue where the chest just opens up. There's no real friction to keep it closed. You can jiggle the figure a little bit and it opens right up. I was actually hoping that when they re-released this figure that they were going to fix it, and that's why I bought it, because I don't want a figure where you move it a little bit and the chest opens up. Nope, they did not. They did not. It has the same fucking problem. Out of all the shit that this idiot talks about, he doesn't really talk about real QC issues. It's more aesthetics that he talks about. The figure could literally fall apart in his hands and he wouldn't really care. But my God, if it comes with something that he doesn't like, color accuracy or clear plastic, he'll throw a fucking fit about that. QC issues, that's nothing. But you see, it's not black enough.
And they've swapped up the colors a little bit to be more cartoon accurate. Again, why did you do that version second? I could also extend this weird head thing to the recent Studio Series Nemesis Prime. Let's be honest, I don't care. Argue the remolded forearms all you want. It's barely noticeable. You know, this could have been a head swap. This could have been a head swap. You know, this is like the market strategy of like Bandai with Dragon Ball figures. They could give you a Goku who just had a different head for every flavor of Super Saiyan that the ice cream shop is serving that day. But instead, they're going to dole it out one at a time. They're going to treat normal Goku, Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan Blue.
How is it this fucktard doesn't realize that Hasbro is in it for the money? How the hell is it that he doesn't realize that this guy runs his own business? He's in it to make money. How is it he doesn't realize that Hasbro is in it to make money? If they release a Goku figure, you know, if they released a pack or a figure with interchangeable heads or whatever the fuck he's talking about, but each one was different, they would only get so much money off of that. Whereas if they released one figure for each version, they could make a lot more money. How the hell is it that this slapnuts does not realize that they need to make money and they're going to make money any way possible? If that means releasing the same figure over and over and over again with different hairstyles, different coloring or whatever, that's what they're going to do.
Super Saiyan, you know, like, or Ultra Instinct Sign, or they're going to treat all of them as if they are completely individual characters when all you could have done is just give me a bunch of heads to swap between.
They wouldn't make as much money doing that as they would if they released them individually. How the fuck do you not realize you own a business? I don't even have a degree in business. And I can even see that, well, they're wanting to make money. The best way to make money is to release the same figure over and over again with slight differences. How the fuck does it not grasp him?
I'm way off track. I'm way off track.
Yeah, no fucking shit.
Let's continue. Just in case you think this is, you know, a new thing for Hasbro, for instance, let us remind you. In 07, this is how your very first Camaro Bumblebee looked. You know, and you know, this is iconic at this point. You know, a lot of us had this one when it first came out. It's super exciting too. The same year this one came out. So immediately, we acknowledge that in the movie, Bumblebee's robot parts that are sticking, you know, that the Camaro is stuck to, is not jet black. It is not, you know, like so dark you can't see the details black. You know, it's gray. You know, Bumblebee in the movies is yellow and gray, and the black is an accent color. You know, it's the striping of his vehicle mode. It's a few little details here and there in the robot mode, but primarily, he's a gray skeleton wearing shrapnel of a yellow Camaro. And why was it done any differently than that? Why did it take 2 releases to just make him the colors that he's supposed to be in the movie? Even on a rushed production, like, they would have had art that showed him with gray parts instead of black. So they've been doing this to us for a long time. And it's part of a greater marketing strategy. It's part of a greater thing that they've been doing for a long time. Part of me wants to trace it all the way back to the Cybertron toy line, even though I acknowledge the way they handled things there was for the repaint to take advantage of G1 decos and that demand versus, you know, getting the main characters from the cartoon out first. but it still felt like the more surefire sales were always reserved for whatever that homage repaint was going to be. And they still kind of follow through with that idea. So, here's Legacy Skyquake. Now, the problem here is, why Skyquake? He's a one-episode character with barely any characterization. We see...
Why not? No, I'm really like, why not? Couldn't have dawned on this guy that there are collectors like myself that would just like to have every character that was in a specific TV series, like say Prime here, for example. Hell, for me, I'm really hyped about the Beast Wars. I love Beast Wars. I would love to get each and every figure of every character and every version of that character that was in Beast Wars. I'm still waiting for... I was originally waiting for Depth Charge, Rampage, and Dinobot 2, the Transmetal version. But then it dawned on me, holy shit, we still need Rat Trap, Transmetal 2, Cheetor. I think they even did like a Transmetal version of Rhinox back in the 90s or whatever. There's still a whole bunch of Beast Wars figures that I'm like really hoping to get one of these days. I just want, I want them all basically. They're like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. How is it that he does not realize that there are collectors like myself that would just like to have each and every character, no matter how prominent they were in the show, no matter how not prominent they were, we just like to have them all basically, and he doesn't realize that, which is fucking sad because he claims to be a collector, and he doesn't realize that there are different types of collectors. To him, the only type of collector is the one that he is. It has to be show accurate or cartoon accurate, whatever. It has to meet this requirement. It has to meet that requirement. It needs to be a prominent character. This guy, why is he here? He didn't do anything. The fact is that he was in the show once, and maybe that's why people like myself would like to have him.
Him as a zombie as much as we do an actual character. And they specifically do that because Dreadwing is a far more guaranteed sell, because he's a popular character from Transformers Prime. And the idea here is to get you to buy the mold on its first run, regardless of what they do to it, character deco-wise, because you're a collector. You're going to get the new mold, right? You want to see how the new mold works, right? You want a brand new toy, right? Well, you're going to suck it up and get whatever version we put out first.
Actually, no, they don't have to suck it up. They could just say, no, I'm not going to buy whatever figure that you put out. I may want only specific figures. For me, sadly, I've had to draw the line when it comes to, the Junkions. I'm not buying the 2 latest Junkions that are coming out in Age of the Primes. I refuse to. I have several of those Junkions, and they've each had a goddamn problem. QC issues, they fall apart or whatever. I still have Trashmaster on the shelf right behind me in his box. I haven't even fucking touched that figure because I'm just so goddamn fed up with the Junkions at this point. It's not worth the hassle. But in closing, basically, people are allowed to buy and not buy what they want.
And then we're going to give you the version you really wanted later on, and we're not going to tell you that until it's too late.
People are pretty smart. They know if one figure, if they release that figure in a different color scheme, they know the one that they really want is down the road. It's just a matter of when. They're not going to see this figure, let's say Hound. I got Detritus. I love Detritus. I think it's an awesome figure. But I looked at Detritus, I'm like, okay, pretty soon, a month, a year, 10 years, 100 years, we're going to get Hound. It's just a matter of time when they're going to do it. This guy literally is treating people like, well, I got Detritus. I wish they would that they would create Hound. Are they ever going to create Hound? It'd be so cool if they actually created a Hound figure. They are literally holding the Hound figure. but it's just colored differently. This guy is making the people sound like they're fucking idiots.
And that's the marketing strategy. You know, sell it on being a new toy first, sell it on being the toy you really want later. My most egregious example of this is always going to be Kingdom Galvatron. When you first look at him, you go just like, why is there battle damage on him? Why is there scuff paint marks all over this toy? Why are they blue? Like in the
I think I said this in a previous video that I reacted to this guy. I may have, I may not. I can't recall. But I think I said something along this lines. These robots, these Transformers, they've been fighting for millions of goddamn years. These two sides of Decepticons and Autobots, they have a grudge against each other that would make the McCoys and Hatfields look at each other and go, dude, that's too long. You know, that you may want to tone it down. It's been going quite a while, you know. How does this fucktard not realize that these robots that have been fighting for millions of years, that they may not get battle damage on them? How does he not grasp that these figures are at war? It's only going to be natural that they would end up getting some sort of damage during those millions of years. He literally, I swear to God, he has the Star Trek Voyager mentality. Now, if you're a fan of Star Trek, you'll know what I'm talking about. In this TV series Voyager, the starship Voyager, that ship took some horrendous beatings. It took some horrendous beatings. You know, like to the point that you would think, oh my God, that ship should be destroyed. By the end of that episode, that ship was basically limping. It was nearly destroyed. Next episode, totally new. Totally fresh coat of paint. No explanation how did this fucking ship that logically should have been like literally destroyed, how it looked like it just came off the dealer's lot the next episode. That's how this guy acts. He literally acts like these things, which are fighting robots, and he doesn't understand that they would have battle damage. Huh? Really? If I, just to fuck with this guy, if I had the money, I would buy Hasbro. And my first official duty as the new owner of Hasbro, you know, Transformers and all that, I would change up I would change the ruling. I'd make these motherfuckers look as damaged as possible. Well, Jeff, that little fucktard over there, he likes his figures to look nice and clean. Well, fuck him. I want scuff marks. Make this motherfucker look like he went through a goddamn rock polisher if need be. You know, with all the dings and all that. Make him look like absolute shit. It boggles my mind how people, like, you know, that this guy, for good example, these are the same people that would scream at Hasbro. They would scream at Hasbro, do something different, Hasbro. Why aren't you doing something different, Hasbro? I want something different, Hasbro. And then Hasbro comes out, hold on one second. They come out with a nice figure. Here, let's do this. They come out with a nice figure, let's say, of Siege Soundwave. I love this figure. They come out with Siege Soundwave. And they're like, here's War for Cybertron Siege Soundwave. I know you can't really see him the best. We think that this is, you know, one of our best ever Soundwave figures. It took a year of development. You know, he has awesome leg articulation, ankle articulation. But one of the things we really like is the battle damage. We have listened to our consumers, and we are trying to give you guys what you want. You know, and here he is. You know, we think you're really going to love this figure. This motherfucker here is probably part of that group that was screaming for change, and then all of a sudden, like, no, I don't want that. That's too different. I don't want that. Make him more like G1. Make him more like a boombox. What is all that damage on him? I don't like that. You cannot You cannot help people like this. Here, let me put them away. There you go. You cannot help people like this. They will scream like a fucking baby for change. And then when Hasbro brings them something different, they scream and they scream and they throw a fucking fit until Hasbro has to fucking go back to the status quo. And then they go back to the status quo and they start it all up again. Why aren't you doing anything different, Hasbro? We want something different. You know why we don't get anything different? It's because of assholes like this.
And if you have this toy in person, they're like blue. It's weird, and it doesn't look good. And
that's his opinion. I liked my War for Cybertron Kingdom Galvatron. I liked him with the battle damage.
It's like 2 years removed from when Siege made this like a line-wide thing. And Galvatron is supposed to be this like shiny, pristine robot that just got reformatted by a Unicron. Why would he have scuff marks on him already like he's been through this war for thousands of years?
There he goes. He literally just said it, that they've been in war for thousands of years. Yet it doesn't fucking click. That's why the figures had the scuff marks. Or the battle damage. I call it battle damage because that's what it is. He doesn't fucking... It's either he's too fucking stupid and he doesn't grasp the reason, or he understands the reasoning and he just acts ignorant. But then again, somebody who had run Hightail to Blue Sky, you can't really expect that much in the way of intelligence.
Years. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. It just ruined the look of the toy.
It did not ruin it. You're being a hypochondriac. It's still Galvatron. You can still see it's Galvatron. If anything, it adds to the figure. It adds to the figure. But then again, this guy is an elitist. That's ultimately what it is. He's no longer your common collector. This guy is an elitist.
And Hasbro knew that it ruined the look of the toy because when they reran the figure for Legacy, it was all gone.
Or, hear me out, maybe Hasbro knew that they could make more money off of the figure by releasing a variant, and that's what they did. It wasn't so much that people were upset about the battle damage, because not everyone was. I wasn't. Maybe that they did it because they knew that they could get some more money off of this figure if they removed the battle damage. It's not fucking rocket science, you idiot.
All of it had been taken off. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the Legacy one, is it? No. This is the Legacy one. This is the Legacy one. It's the same bright purple. It's the same bright purple. It just doesn't have the scuffs on it anymore. No. This one is the third one they made. This is the Studio Series 86 version. And now you actually get the deeper purple, more close to like a dark indigo, that you actually expect out of Galvatron. See, you see this, you see a bright purple, and you think Galvatron, you see the purple, but it's when you see it like this in movie accurate colors, you go, oh right, that's the color Galvatron's supposed to be. Oh, I had forgotten that.
Or people just don't care and they're just happy to have a Galvatron. Not everybody is so fucking superficial like you are. Not everybody has to have everything be so fucking perfect like you do. People like me, we're just fucking happy to have a good Galvatron figure. I had the Titans Return Galvatron figure, and that thing fucking sucked.
So, twice over, they got you to buy this toy because they had made an improvement on the original deco. So we got rid of the scuffs. You're gonna buy it again, right? Oh, we're gonna make him the right shade of purple to match the movie. You're gonna buy him again, right? You got me to buy this toy 3 times already.
So he bought the figure knowing what he was going to get, and he still throws a fucking fit. He still throws a fucking fit. If he was fucking smart like he acts like he is, he would have got that first, the Kingdom variant or Kingdom version of Galvatron. So I had the scuff, like, okay, I'm gonna wait. Legacy version came out. It doesn't have the scuff marks, but it's still the off-color purple that he doesn't like. If he was fucking smart, he would have been like, no, I'm not gonna buy this figure. I'm gonna wait. The Studio Series 86 comes out, which I actually have on the shelf up there. Studio Series 86 comes out. He buys that one also. He's literally playing the field, ladies and gentlemen. He pays Hasbro for figures he does not like, and then he throws a fit about the figures that he buys, even though he knows what he's fucking buying. That would be the equivalent of me buying that upcoming Wreck-Gar figure and whatever the other one was, other Junkion. That would be like me buying those two fucking figures and then throwing a fit about them because that I'm not happy with them. Well, no shit, Jeff. You're not happy with them, but you still bought them. This guy's a fucking hypocrite. He's a fucking hypocrite.
Because I'm chasing the dragon of the ideal version of the toy.
And guess what? You still paid Hasbro. Way to go, idiot.
And they do that all the time. And what got me on this train before the release, the show off of the new version of Hot Rod, I saw a list that compiled all of the stuff that was coming out in 2026. I saw like this huge list of waves that were of toys we're getting. And there is a lot of refreshes and a lot of older figures coming back. And it feels like every single one of them is going to do the exact same thing. These minor redecos to make them a little bit more cartoon accurate, a little bit more comic accurate, a little bit more whatever, just for the sake of putting it out there again and getting one more run of money off of the toy. And it feels really nasty.
So, he's upset that a business is in it to make money. Hey, dipshit, you own a business. Are you actually saying you own this business, but you're not in it for money? I say bullshit that you're fucking lying if you actually say yes to that. By nature, everybody is in business to make money.
There is something about it that feels extra scummy. And you know what? And it all just kind of boils down to what you expect. It's a money thing. In the case of toys like Galvatron, it shouldn't shock you that there's very few repaint options for him. You get a toy-based accurate one. They got really clever with the Straxus, but that's basically all you can really do with Galvi. So to actually get...
That's ultimately what it is. This guy who owns a business is upset that another business is making money. That's basically what this all boils down to, ladies and gentlemen. And it's fucking sad. It's fucking sad. This guy needs to grow up.
Get more versions of them sold? Sure, let's put out an incorrect version first. Let's put out, a slightly better version, and then another slightly better version.
Then you don't buy the first two versions. If you don't think that those first two versions are correct, you don't fucking buy them and then throw a fit about them. You wait until the version you figure that you feel is correct is the right one, and then you buy it. Because if you buy the figure you don't think is the correct one, and then you buy a modified version that's still not correct before you finally buy the right one, you're not really punishing Hasbro. You're basically telling them that this business mentality they have, that it's viable, basically. If you literally just bought what you wanted, which was that Studio Series 86 version of Galvatron, and you literally said, fuck no, I'm not buying the other ones, then that would have told Hasbro, hey, we got to make sure our product is correct the first time. But no, because we have idiots like this guy over there, Hasbro thinks, well, we can just keep releasing and releasing and releasing and releasing. And they're going to buy it because they're fucking idiots. And this guy is literally proving it. He's fucking proving it.
And this thing shelf warmed because of how many times it was released. So it's not like the 86 one was to meet or sate a demand.
Apparently it was, because you bought it. It was in demand for you. You bought it.
No, it's just a way of making and milking the collectors for more money for the same thing.
Oh, I would love to go into this guy's store and see how much above MSRP he actually sells his items for. Because like I said, at the end of the day, he needs to make money. I make you a bet that nothing he sells there goes for MSRP, because he wouldn't be profiting off of it then. The guy needs to make money. But like I said, it's a rules for thee, not for me. Everybody else has to abide by this guy's weird sense of rules. But when it comes to him, he should be able to gouge the customers.
And it's getting frustrating.
Oh, God, he's getting
And
frustrated.
we're gonna be doing it again. Don't get me wrong. I am kind of a sucker for this. I will be grabbing that version.
So, he literally just spent nearly 23 minutes, not the whole video, but almost 23 minutes talking about how Hasbro is basically milking the fandom for money. How they're basically taking advantage of the consumers. He's literally going to be closing this video by saying, yeah, well, this figure, I'm going to be buying it again. What's the point of this video then? You're literally just proving yourself to be two-faced. You're a hypocrite.
Version of Hot Rod, because it is an ideal version of Hot Rod.
Then why did you buy the first one? Why did you buy the first one then if you were so unhappy with it that this is the ideal version? My God, just.
It is one step closer to being exactly what I want.
Oh my God! So now he's framing it as this is one step closer. So that means whenever the next one comes out within 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 30 years or whatever, he's gonna be like, well, this last one was just almost close. This one is even more closer. This guy is literally.
But why was it done this way? Why?
Money. Hasbro is in it to make money. They're going to release inferior product in your eyes. That way that they know that they can release a slightly more better version a couple years down the road. How the fuck is it that he does not realize ultimately at the end of the day it comes down to money? How does he not realize that?
Couldn't have been done right the first time. And that's the question I leave. There's this genuine conspiracy theorist in my brain that wants to believe Hasbro is genuinely releasing inferior versions of these toys, specifically so they can sell superior ones down the line. Maybe that's just a conspiracy nut in my head waiting to crack, but it definitely feels like what's happening. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
I think you're a fucktard. I think you're a hypocrite. I think you do not realize what business actually means and how Hasbro needs to make money. And they will make money doing whatever possible. I think you're all overall just a fucking moron. But that's just my opinion. Hey, he asked, I answered.
Below, is this a thing? Is this just in my head? Are they genuinely just trying to put the toys out again for collectors who didn't get a shot at them the first time and tweaking them?
That's partially it. Yeah, it's to help collectors who did not get a chance to buy it the first time. It helps give them a second chance to get that figure. Kind of like with the Studio Series 86 Grimlock. But this guy makes it a lot more. He makes a lot more than it actually is.
To improve them as as they are able to, or is this very deliberate way of getting more uses out of molds that don't really have a whole lot of repaint options, hot rod included, by the way? So that is up to you. Let me know in the comment section below, and as always, I will see you next time.
Okay, so that was basically it. It was a lot of nothing. This guy was basically just complaining about how Hasbro is releasing the same figure over and over again when they should have been done the perfect way to begin with. The sad fact is there is no perfect way. As long as the figure actually functions the way it is supposed to, coloring really doesn't matter. Like for Triptychon, it could be it could be a blackish color, it could be a grayish color. Ultimately, it's up to the consumer what they want. Like I said, I really don't care about coloring as long as it's in the ballpark. as long as it's in the ballpark for the character. Would I buy Trypticon if they had all green? Fuck no, because now that's not what Trypticon is. But if Trypticon is either gray or black, because gray is pretty close to black, you know, I'd be fine with it. But basically, this is just a guy who, you know, who is upset at Hasbro for basically wanting to make money, and they're going to release slight updates to their figures through, you know, over the years. And the thing is, he basically condones what Hasbro does by buying the same figure over and over and over again, even though he knows what he is buying is not the right version. He openly said that he bought all 3 versions of Galvatron. He just announced at the end of the video that he is going to buy that update of Hot Rod. It would be one thing, you know, if he actually had a backbone to stand on his morals, and he actually goes, you know what, I'm not going to buy that Galvatron because I already bought it twice. I'm not going to buy it again because I know down the road they're going to release an 18th Galvatron. I'd be like, God damn, this guy actually has a backbone. But no, he bought it. He bought it the first time, second time, and third time. Hot Rod, he bought it the first time. He's going to buy it the second time, even though he knows that these changes are incremental, and that ultimately he's just going to buy the next Hot Rod, whatever comes down the road. Because the fishing rod. The fishing rod is going to be a different color. Like I said, people like him are the reason that this fandom is as fucked up as it is. You should buy something that you like. Don't buy something you like based on if he likes it or not. Because as he showed in this video, if you're somebody who likes clear plastic like I do, he kind of has a little bit of disrespect for you.